Well, today I'm here with Cory. Cory's extremely, exciting to me. He's been a great co-worker, friend now. We've known each other for not that long, even though it probably feels that long. I always talk about anybody that knows me knows I talk about incubating time. So we make time. We're very useful in the way that we use time. We make sure that we get a lot out of time. And to that end, like Cory and I have known each other for about a year now, or a little over a year. We met via the industry. I've had ads out for employment for a loan officer assistant, and Cory saw those ads, and now it's all history. But Cory, tell us a little bit about your experience before getting in the industry, how you found Client Direct Mortgage, and sort of like this, just the beginning of this journey.
All right. It's pretty simple. So came in zero experience. I was in retail most of my working career. Had some family that was in the industry, and they let me know, loan officers, whatever that is, they're doing pretty well. This is in 2020. So I got on the interweb. I looked up a bunch of companies. I seen Ramon's company here and applied for an interview.
Yeah, and that began probably a path that you didn't. You're like, who's this crazy guy? That is trying to get me to do all these things that we're definitely unconventional. And Cory, you had the opportunity to work, directly with me when I was bringing people in, trying to see if they could transition into loan officers, people with no experience. But just talk about how that part, like how we kind of spent time and what those days were like as we kind of got you introduced to the business.
Okay, so starting off, we worked very close together, worked right next with Ramon and the rest of the team. We would have daily meetings. Ramon will be in there giving us the boot camp of it.
I would say the one thing that I remember your interview, and the one thing I was like, yeah, okay, this guy has zero experience altogether, right? But I was looking for people with zero experience because I wanted to, it was more of a pilot or a test to see if we could take certain people that had certain qualities and convert them over into good loan officers. And one thing that I noticed about you was the personality, the gift of the gab. I could see it immediately when we started talking. And I knew if you could get the subject matter knowledge on this business, then you'd probably be pretty successful in it. And speaking to that subject matter knowledge part, like you did go through the ringer, right? Because I put everybody through the ringer in order to make it. And we know, both of us know, that in the class of people that you were in, only about 10% of those people actually, it might have been 10, 20 people, and only a couple of them are actually even still around, still in the business from that particular pilot. But just talk about how difficult it was, or some of the struggle that you had as you started to learn, and then kind of express like where you feel like you're at now as far as your knowledge level.
So as far as like when I first started and some of the struggles I had, I feel like it's normal struggles starting anything that you don't know. What I can say is, round of applause to the team and all the support that I had, everyone having my back on my journey in the industry or whatnot.
One thing that I wanted to do when I was training on this pilot was partition out the information. So much information in mortgage, so much to learn.
Yeah.
And I wanted you guys to be able to focus on a certain part and be successful in that part. The big thing for me, and especially the way our system was set up, was to be able to focus on the sales part of things. Yep. So from the beginning of when you started to now, there's multiple segments, and you realize this now because of how well you're doing in the business. But there's the front end sales part. There's all the product knowledge. There's the approval of a file and knowing how to calculate those different components you need, like BTI and all that good stuff, which is operational sort of stuff, right? And the thing that I try to stress to people is like, in our platform, I'm trying to teach you to be exceptional in just one of those segments, right? And then we can support you on the other segments. But kind of speak to that, because you become an exceptional salesperson, and you have quite a way to grow on the other side of the spectrum, right? All the different products, how to calculate this and how to calculate that, but you're still doing absolutely amazing because you're so good in the front end sales. But kind of speak to like how the system is set up so it allows you to still be successful.
The system allows me to wake up every day and hunt, right? I pick up my spear, I get to the field, and I hunt. The system is literally like a big machine behind you. You take the deer, you throw it in the machine, it skins it, it guts it, it turns it into pork chops.
All right.
By the time, you got to pop in every now and then because they want to know, hey, Cory, do you want your big cuts? You want little cuts? You know what I mean? Other than that, for the most part, all I really focus on 75% of my day is sales.
Yep. And what did I always say from the beginning? Income producing activities.
Yep.
I beat it in from the income producing activities, right? So there's some basic fundamentals that are in place that try to make it to where, you guys can be successful. When I say basic fundamentals and how we built the system, but just walk them through, like, you said that you come in and you how you start your day, but go to the point where, you got it on the dialer, you've connected with someone, they want to move forward. How does that walk all the way through? Where do you start in that and where do you stop? Where it's like, okay, I'm handing it off and I'm going back over here now to hunt again. What does that look like?
Okay, so how that looks like, I got my dialer logged in, everything's up and running. And I have someone on the phone, they want to move forward. We already ran over all the options for them, all the different quotes. We have a good product that they like. So from there, we do the application all in the system. Everything's paperless. Once we get it fully filled out, submitted into the system, my borrower, so to speak, they will have their own portal and they'll be able to see all the required documents that they need, and they'll be able to see the progress of their file, all that good stuff. So once we get all that in, I get it ready to disclose from there, and the team pretty much takes it and starts to cook it.
Yep. And I think that's the real important thing, because now you got it ready to disclose, you're feeling accomplished, right? Yep. And boom, I got one for the day. Now you're going back out looking for that next deal, right? Yep. And then as those documents are coming in, the system's notifying you saying, hey, this document's here, that document's here. We have a document team. The document team's analyzing them, and they'll go back and tell Cory, like, hey, this bank statement is missing page 4, right? This is happening, that's happening. And then Cory can then go out and spend 25% of his time, right? And get that one specific thing targeted instead of sitting there filing through banks or doing this or doing a bunch of other stuff that loan officers do, right? And that's the biggest thing here. That's why Cory is so successful, right? Cory has come now, and in less than a year, and his license, he was training for it. He did not have his license when he came in, right? He learned the business. He's studying for his NMLS test while he was working here as an LOA. And Cory, I'm gonna say this, I won't tell him, because me and you sharing this, Cory and I did not pass the NMLS test on the first try, right? So we did extended studying.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
But I will say that, I made it to the top of the industry as an originator, and Cory is right on his way as well. He was the #1 loan officer in the company this month, okay? He's well over in the 2.5, what are you doing, 2.5 million or something this past month. And keep in mind, we always have the third pillar. The third pillar is how we pay, right? We pay 1%, so it's easy math, right? So Cory's up in the range of $23,000, $23,000 to $25,000 in a month in a market that's the worst it's been. This is September. This doesn't even have to age well, because it is what it is. The timestamp has already been marked. This is one of the worst. These are the worst months that our industry has seen in the last 15 years. However, Cory is closing upwards of $2 million in loans a month. Now, a lot of you are going to say this, right? Because I know how loan officers think. A lot of you are going to say, well, his stuff happened to all close on that month, right? So it's like an anomaly. He'll be good this month and he won't be good for the next 3, right? Wrong, right? Because our system is about sustainability. Everything is sustainability first. So Cory, speak a little bit about how you, go back a couple of months, because you had to first build up to this point, right? So you had to invest, you had to believe in yourself, you took a risk, you gambled on Cory, right? You built that pipeline up, but that pipeline started at 0, and a lot of these guys are going to start at 0 too, right? So what do you have to do to number one, the mindset you have to be able to say, okay, it's going to take this amount of time and I'm going to build up my pipeline. What is it that you have to get to be able to build up a pipeline? Because in the beginning, you're talking to people, and I think for the most part, you're making events, right? So I'll let you take it from there and kind of talk about how you built up to this.
Yes, sir. So starting off, as you mentioned, everything starts at zero. You're at ground zero, right? All I really did was hit the ground running, be very hungry, super consistent, put my 8 hours in every single day, make sure I do at least a couple hundred calls a day, right? Because the more calls you do, the more chance you're going to net something.
Yes.
It takes a while. It takes a while to kind of, get the flow really down when you're really on your own 2 feet to build your pipeline and things like that. But what I can say is, you just have to just stay on it. You have to work every single day. You can't like part-time this.
So question. All right. So you're on there, you're making calls, you're consistent. You trained yourself to stay in the batter's box and swing, so many times a day, no matter what. Okay. So now you're comfortable doing that win, lose, or draw. Okay. How does it actually work though? Does it conversation straight to applications, or did you take the path of using your calendar and a bunch of events first and then to applications? Like, how do you set up? What is truly a pipeline? Like, a lot of people don't know what building a pipeline really is. They just think applications. And I think there's a lot of people that come from the perspective of wanting instant gratification. Like, I made 700 phone calls and I should be closing. I should be closing business now, right? So, but that's not exactly how it works. But kind of speak like in detail what you have to do to actually get there and build this pipeline.
Okay, so you got me in the batter's box no matter what, win, lose, or draw. I do however many calls I can in that amount of time, right? Events are very important. I set events like my life depends on it.
Okay.
Even if the person says I'm busy right now at work, the first thing I'll do is say, hey, Mr. or Miss, I'm easy. Can I set an event? That's it. Set the event. When the time calls, call the people. And if it's still not the right time, ask for another event. Events are very important in building the pipeline, I think. But it's just being consistent, as you mentioned, staying in the box, setting events, calling past events. You know what I mean? And
people might not know. We use this term. We gotta be careful because people might not know what an event is. So tell them exactly like what an event is. You're inside of the lead, and they don't know that we have a task, events, email, call log.
Yeah,
all
so events is your event calendar. Yeah, sorry. It's event calendar. It's your calendar date. Yeah, so it's like your call appointments that you set on your calendar.
Okay. That's inside of the Salesforce, not in your Outlook, anywhere else. That's in your environment, sits on your lead. Reports can come down off that stuff. Okay. So basically what you're doing is you're talking to a person. If they don't want to do an application at the time and they don't tell you to piss off, or I have a 2.125 already, then you're finding a future time to be able to talk to these people, right? So how many events would you say that you set a day in a week? I have an idea. I have a graph of all my loan officers and everybody who has how many, it's like bar graph. So Cory is like way out here compared to everybody else. I tell you, he's off the chart, right? Everybody else is way over here, and you got Cory down there, right? So, but go ahead, tell them how many like events you'll set over the course of a day or a week.
I'll just say over a month. Sometimes I set so many events that I have to erase events because it could only hold like 200 events or something like that. Right. I would have to go through and see which events are more powerful than others and erase the weak one.
Exactly. And that's a good point, Cory.
Because I want to keep all the juicy stuff.
And that's where you've evolved. Because in the beginning, you were probably just setting events and then you learn, like, wait a minute, this is a good deal. This is a bad deal. I'm going to talk to this person. I'm going to prioritize, right? So then you have that system in place. But the beautiful thing about it, I think, is that it's all the same platform. You're not logging in. You're not going looking at your Outlook calendar for events and then coming back into a different CRM to go do this and then trying to take an application somewhere else. You're all in the same place having this success. And I think and what we've learned in working together, me from having lead maturation software company and watching you guys go through this process, one thing that we've learned is like having that single level platform really minimizes the learning curve and makes it to where you guys can be successful a lot faster. Now, I have another question about getting back to my thing where I said that certain loan officers will say, well, all his loans kind of fell into the same month, right? And you might not know this, Cory, because you're just getting into the business and you actually been selling for under a year as a loan officer. But with a lot of LOs out there, they'll have 3 or 4 deals working, and then they won't go out and do more business. Okay. And right, I know it seems foreign to you because you go out there and grind and try to get new business every day, but they focus on the business that they have and try to get those loans closed. So they'll close all those loans and have a month similar to yours, but then they'll have 0 in their pipeline for the future, right? And it's totally different with you. When I look at my reporting, you literally have over $125,000 in locked loans, right? Now, I'm not saying all those are going to close. I don't know if they're going to close or not, what percentage is going to close or not. We have an idea, right? Because we get metrics, but you have like loans that October, November, December, it's like looking promising for you. Because if you look at the number of events you have, those people are going to convert to applications by next month, and they're going to be closing in this month, and you already got over $100,000 in locked loans. So I guess the question is, do you see yourself, when you look at yourself as a loan officer, do you feel like you have sustainability? Like you've got to a certain point. I know you fought to get to this point, but do you feel confident that you're going to be able to continue on and continue to close at the level that you've gotten to now?
Definitely. I'm super confident in myself in general. I've always been like that. So it's like, I bet on me, right? And like, as far as do I feel sustainability with the system and the company and what we're doing? Yeah, 100%. I don't have a doubt in my mind, not one.
Right.
What keeps me going and what keeps my pipeline looking like that is the fear of not putting new stuff in. I can always plug in after hours, weekends to chase docs, do whatever. The fear of not getting new loans in, I don't know, it scares the shit out of me, right? So that's what drives, like paranoia of not producing. That's probably what keeps it full. But yeah, that's the truth right there on that one.
And that was another good point too. You said that you tap in on the weekends, or you'll do this or you'll do that. So you can jump on the dialer and if you want, and try to connect with people at any time you want, right? It's like always on, really. The dialer is set to follow certain laws within the state, so you can't call people at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, but within the time frames that you're allowed to, you can always go in there and send a things to do email to the client, right? Requesting more documents, or follow up on this or follow up on that on Saturday morning before you go out with the family and go do this. Or send a quote on Sunday to a guy that said, hey, I'm available now. You got a minute for me? Yeah. So, yeah.
Because a lot of that stuff will alleviate some pressure for your upcoming week. So you can start Monday. If I can start Monday with no team on me, no Hawks team. We have the Hawks team that are like watching us like a Hawks, watching all the loan officers, and they'll be there to let you know that the doc's still being requested. So are you ever going to bring it in? Right. So, if I could start the week with all the team happy with me and all I got to do is grab my spear and hunt, it's going to be a great week.
Right. And I know not everybody, okay, I love the Hawks. The Hawks report directly to me, right? And this is so we put in a team called the Hawks. They're a group of individuals that watch the pipeline, similar to like a hawk flies over, right? And they're making sure things stay moving. Because a lot of times when you guys are on the front end selling, and days go so fast, right? You're on the dialer, you're taking the application, you get a lot of applications. You'll take, is it not uncommon for you to take how many applications in a day?
Minimum 2.
Okay, 2. See, let me say minimum 2, right? So he's taking 2, 3, 4 applications, having conversations with people, trying to get them to explain to them to get the docs in, all that good stuff, right? So you're going to forget, like, dang, that client last week hasn't sent me in the docs yet. That's when the Hawk team's going to fly over, right? Hawk team's going to fly over and say, hey, Cory, your application that came in last Thursday, we can see the notes. They said they were going to have the docs in by this day, but they haven't gotten in there. Do you mind, pinging them? That way we can make sure those docs get in. So they're there to help you, a real live individuals that are reminders as well on pertinent items, right? They're not going to be bothering you about a bunch of BS. They're discussing with you. You might have a loan that's close to closing, right? You only need a couple conditions and the client's not responding to the processor. The Hawks are going to come say, hey, can you give your client a call so you can help the processor get this file done and complete with clear to close? So we always have people above watching as well, the pipeline, to help you move the loans through, right? And that's how we make it to where somebody like Cory, well, you don't need a ton of experience. What you need to do is learn the products. And Cory, this is something I'm just gonna stop myself right there, and I wanna ask this question too. Do you feel as though we set the products up, right? The things that you sell every day, do we categorize those in a way where it was not necessarily easy for you to learn, but it wasn't too high of a learning curve to understand the different products that we're selling to these particular clients? And are these clients receptive to the particular products that we sell? Can you just speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, how the products are structured in the system in general, super helpful, super friendly and easy. It pretty much shows you where your sweet spot is per product for the client of what's available for them. So you don't really have to worry about crossing any kind of guidelines or anything like that, high price loans, anything like that, right? It's too much to think about. So the system has the products set for us here. And it's easy to sell. It's easy to sell.
And our quote engine is inside of Salesforce too, but the quote engine allows you to immediately email the quote to the client like that, right?
Yep.
And also, I mean, the 6-month ARM is built in there, so you're able to send them a 6-month ARM. And when you send them a quote, are you going out and looking at fees for title, escrow, like all that, the closing costs the transfer tax for Virginia and all that kind of stuff?
All automatic and baked in for me there.
Okay.
I don't have to do too much. Yeah.
And then you're texting the client from the system as well, right? So you're interacting with them however they want to interact with you. I call you, I text you, I send you an email, all that stuff is right in front of you. I can even give you the link and you do the application yourself if you want to, although we always encourage you to take the applications.
Definitely.
Take the applications so that way they're efficient and they're ready to go. Well, I mean, all in all, I mean, you've done an excellent job. I mean, I had a vision of, and when you're thinking about something, it's like, all right, I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm gonna get these cats in here that have zero experience, right? They don't know a 1003 from an ABC or BBD, they don't know, right? So get these cats in here. We're gonna train them up, all right? We're gonna put this weapon in their hand, and we're gonna see if they can win. And I think it's something that's beautiful, actually. I mean, the harmony between us, because you're coming in with a certain set of skills as well. This is not just about what we did. This is our side meeting your side, and it having, being an equitable relationship. It coming together, it's fitting together for us to produce something bigger. And that's what we've been able to do here with one another. And I think it's absolutely amazing. The thing that's really crazy about it is, and I shared a very similar experience in this, right? So you're kind of like going through what I went through like 10 years ago, right? And it's like it's a real good feeling, because to be quite honest, I was talking to people that had been in the business 10 years, 12 years, and they're giving me advice this way and advice that way. Ramon, you got to do it like this, and blah, 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 right? And I kind of did it, like that old song, I did it my way, right? So I kind of did my way, and my way allowed me to accelerate past these people that were giving advice super fast, right? That's one thing that's crazy about this business, right? History is important. It's always important to pay deference to the things of people that come before you, but this business is changing so fast that you've got to be on the front end of things, because you become old really quick in this business, right? And what I mean by old is not producing, right? A producer to a non-producer. And I think that what we're seeing is somebody like you, you're fresh, you're new, you're exciting. The customers trust you, right? They're convinced that the product and service and the way that the system works, all that kind of stuff is the right path to go, that you're leading them down, right? And this is from someone that's been in the business for less than a year, actually truly licensed and selling, right? So your potential now is through the roof, right? You change. You immediately, it's like playing a video game almost. You just leveled up, right? And I think that's absolutely amazing. I think that loan officers in general have to take notice of that, because they're going to have to change themselves, right? Because they're doing things an old way. They have somebody like you that's able to focus 75% of their time and talk to people and actually get loans in the door and closing them and making money and moving past everybody. you really have to pay homage to that. One other thing I have a question about. A lot of people traditionally, consumer direct has always been focused on refinance, and they say once refinance goes away, you die. They're not even nice about it. You know what I mean? They don't even say you die a painful death, a painful fast death, right? Right? But refinance is not here. Refinance is 83% down, right? We do refinance and purchase. How would you say you're doing on the purchase side of the business? Are you getting purchase loans in?
Okay. Honestly speaking, I do have a few purchases, but my pipeline, a lot of it is refinance.
Still.
Yes.
Still. So people are still focused on the refinance side, but you are getting some purchase too.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Pre-approvals. Do you get a ton of pre-approvals? I know, and you got to think though too, because you're in the front end of the business, the front end of having applications in. How many pre-approvals would you say that you're getting per week?
Pre-approvals are pretty constant. It's gotten to the point to where I have to kind of like really sift through the pre-approvals. Don't just take any pre-approval. I got to go a little in depth more with it, so to speak, because so many pre-approvals, it'll just cloud up my pipeline, right?
Right. Yeah, and that's what's happening.
Like the best pre-approvals I can.
Yeah, so don't worry. So what will happen in time? There's just a longer cycle. All those pre-approvals that you're getting, I know they're not as exciting too as getting that refinance, but you are getting a lot of pre-approvals. We're going to put the Hawk team on the pre-approvals as well to kind of follow up with those people, not necessarily remind you to follow up. This will be the first interaction that we have with the Hawk team actually going out to consumers. So they are going to go out to consumers on the pre-approval side to see where they're at in the process, to get their realtor's contact information and put it into our Salesforce, right? And then we'll start communicating with the realtor automatically, right? So we're going to beef that up for you guys. But you guys are getting those applications in. We're getting a ton of pre-approvals in, which is probably one of the more surprising things to me. I mean, I went out and invested in the leads on the purchase side of the business, and we're getting a ton of pre-approvals in. And when the market time shifts a little bit and consumers feel like they're ready to come back in and really start buying, that you're going to see it's going to be a waterfall of loans sort of coming in. Well, listen, this was great. I appreciate what you've done. I appreciate the commitment. I appreciate the sharing and the vision. I'm extremely happy for you because you're doing well, and we all do this. We do this. There's always people behind us. We rarely do this for ourselves, right? It's always for our family, our children, our wives or husbands, our brothers and sisters, and all that sort of thing, right? So you are paving the road. You're making opportunity for others. In what you're doing, other people are going to look at this and be inspired as well. So now, just like with me, it's like I was able to go to a certain level and inspire you to come in and be successful in this platform. Now, very quickly, it doesn't take long, you're going to do the same thing for other people. And that's the beautiful thing about this business to me. We do well in this business and we can make a lot of money in this business, but it's also important. And the amazing thing about this is that we can share that and have that trickle down to other people as well and pull them up. So, man, it's been extremely exciting. Even more excited to see your continued growth. And we're gonna rock and roll. We're gonna continue to be positive and win out here. You know me, it's always about the winning. Any last words or departing words until the next one?
Last words. Just want to say I'm very positive as well. You know what I mean? Literally, without you, there will be no Cory. So out there on the first video. And another thing, guys, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Well, look into the camera. Yeah. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Hey, I said the same thing. I said the same exact thing.